Hey guys, Dennis here. We got Megan, we got Dan, and Alex will be on here shortly. Seeing a lot of you over here watching now. Dan let me know many of you are from his TikTok channel. He has been killing it over there on TikTok. And I see Catfish here. Catfish has been sick. Thankfully, he's doing better. Glad he's doing a lot better. And prayers he continues to improve. See on here, he said I should have kept everybody updated, but it has been forever, it seems like, since we've been on here. Hey, Missy Scott, you made a live. So, Dan, what has been going on over there on your TikTok channel? We're going to put you on the spot here.
So many different things. I mean, between Amber Alerts, missing children, I mean, it's gotten crazy. And not to mention all of the drama that goes along with TikTok, but I avoid that.
Now, didn't you say there is a petition going around that would make...
You're cutting out.
Didn't you say there's a petition going around that would make activating an Amber Alert?
Yeah, Yeah, we do have a petition going around right now to try to eliminate some of the requirements for the Amber Alert, so that way they can get out quicker, more in a timely manner instead of hours and hours and hours, days.
Because right now, that system...
The main requirement we need removed is proof of abduction.
Yeah. Like when you have a child go missing, that child should automatically be considered in danger, and that should be issued immediately.
Yeah, I mean, right now, we're pushing out a case that it's a 19-year-old girl that has autism, and she also has multiple mental disorders. She ran away from a group home. We were able to track her all the way to Texas from Milwaukee.
Wow.
There's Alex. Let's go ahead and bring Alex up in here. Alex, how is it going?
Non-stop. That's how it's going. The world needs to slow down. And I just lost my pen. This is weird looking on the laptop doing this instead of the old phone. Whoa! Turned on Tammy's makeup light. And everything behind me is a mess because this weekend's garage sale weekend, so she's getting prepped. So what are we discussing?
We're just going over what Dan has been doing over on TikTok. We've got a lot of his followers over in the comments right now.
Awesome. Awesome. You all have quite the background picture going on of the river there.
Oh.
Hey, he knew immediately what it was.
Yeah, because I drive over the river every day going to the pharmaceutical plant, and I can tell it looks like it's getting ready to flood.
Yeah.
So, oh man, I'm just reading some. This is different now. Doing it on this, I can actually see the comments pop up. Pretty cool.
I tried telling you.
I know. I'm too old. Plus, the other day, I kind of dropped my phone while I was doing some excavation work, and now the screen shattered. So now the front camera doesn't work, so none of the facial recognition stuff works, which is causing nightmares. So I got to go and get the screen fixed. So I was hoping this was going to work for the first time. So
See, I'm using Megan's computer tonight, so hopefully I don't have too much freezing up and all the goofy
Yeah.
faces and stuff.
Our
Yeah.
Wi-Fi is being funky though. I keep seeing it go up and down.
So, I don't know
Now,
if you've
is
seen him in
anybody
the.
noticing it freezing?
See what Catfish put on here?
It keeps freezing.
It keeps freezing.
who's freezing?
Dude.
Oh,
See-
Dennis and Megan just.
Both of you.
Now Dan freezes
you
up
keep
some on our
freezing.
end. Leela says it's not freezing for me.
Huh.
Lagging a bit, but not too bad.
Well, hopefully it quits.
I think it's the Wi-Fi.
Should have went through that.
Wow.
But Alex, Catfish is on tonight over
Oh,
in
yeah.
the comments. He's doing a lot better finally.
Well, that's good. I'm glad he's doing better.
Scotland.
Susan says fine in Scotland for me.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. What time is it in Scotland right now?
Right?
We'd like to know that question.
I think they're 6 hours behind us or ahead of us.
Are they? Thanks, Bobby. I don't know. I keep getting these little odd bugs that since I don't have an immune system, anything that somehow I catch, it just kicks my butt. And I get nasty fevers that are really bad. So, yeah. So hopefully I'm going to the doctor Saturday morning. So we'll see if they can find anything else out again. But so.
And Natasha, we don't have any what I would call updates, but we do have locations of interest to search in Mark Fullerton's case. That one, when they lost so many people and so many people connected to that case started passing away pretty close together, it got, I don't know, that was kind of shocking. I didn't expect that. And not saying in any way that's related to Mark Fullerton's case, but it was kind of unsettling the way there were so many in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
That was an incredible
Hey, Dennis.
loss. It's unfortunately. Is that a pink phone case there, Dan?
All right, Dennis, I'm going to drop out and drop to my phone.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to jump over to my phone. It keeps cutting.
Okay.
My team's still posting about the missing man in Nashville.
That is I can't think of the name off the top of my head. Dan and I was discussing that one last night again. And Kayla, we have, I want to say it's right at 270 cases that are open with us. And we have multiple searches coming up on multiple different cases. I don't have a number on that, but we've got right now currently about 75 locations to search this year, plus a big event coming up later this year that we'll get into here in just a bit.
Riley Strain. They found him, didn't they?
Dan, where'd you go?
Might not be the one that I was thinking of.
I'm back.
You're on blackout mode.
Sebastian Rogers is who I was thinking of.
Oh, the teenager.
Sebastian is the one that's all over TikTok constantly, I believe.
Yes.
The
And what is going on with his case at this moment? I mean,
You want the truth?
well, sure,
Drama?
yeah.
drama.
Yep. Nothing but.
And Kayla says no new updates with Sebastian.
No.
And you know, it is so sad how so much drama comes about in a missing persons case. It's like, you know, if somebody wants to be there for drama, there are plenty other topics in this world they can go to. But instead they come where there's families who's missing their loved one. Their loved one's out there, they don't know if they're alive or if they're dead, and they bring drama for anything.
Well, I've kind of learned a lot about being involved in what we do, that there is people out there that just get a kick out of messing with people, you know, in the situation who have missing people. I mean, there's people that just run their mouths and start crap and make up crap, and I honestly 100% believe that they have not one clue or one bit of anything, any way, shape, or form with the person that's missing. I think people just randomly jump on to start crap, run their mouths, sideline conversations, and they just get a kick out of it. I guess you want to call them trolls, whatever. You know, can't say the other words because we're a family-oriented show. But I've noticed a lot of that, you know, over the last 2 years of this, basically, of people I think it's just something they do just to have fun and, you know, get a rise out of somebody for no reason. Which, if the person would put themselves in somebody else's shoes who's really dealing with a missing person's case, I think that would maybe they would realize what they're doing, but I don't think that will ever happen.
Unfortunately, no, I don't think it's ever gonna happen. It's turning into Summer Wells all over again.
Yeah.
I mean, I could tell you my theories, but that would be adding to the drama.
Oh, we all have our theories.
Yeah.
And
Especially
Chris, if you're talking about Matthew Broswell missing in Tennessee, we do have a couple locations of interest that need to get searched.
Matthew Braswell was located.
Oh, okay.
He was located unalived. But no, he's talking about a different Matthew.
Okay.
But right now, it's been nothing but drama. Creators bashing each other over there. It's gotten bad.
That's so sad. It should never be like that by any means. So,
The families watch these videos and live feeds, and they're going through enough without all of that.
yeah. That is true.
I don't know how to make my screen bigger on my phone.
Well, like when you turned it earlier, that's what I used to do on mine. I turned my phone sideways and it made the picture. Yeah, now there you go. It just switched. So now your picture looks like all the rest of us.
Okay.
We can see that pretty smile now, Dan.
Before it was the skinny version. So
guys, I mentioned just a bit ago that there's an event we're doing later this summer, and we don't want to mention what lake it is just yet. We have had approval from Parks and Rec and all of that to be able to go in to do this. But we are inviting some other teams in. We're going to go to this lake. We do have some cases in the general area, but we won't be focused on a specific case for this. This is a massive lake, and we're going to work through a weekend and get that lake cleared and recover any vehicles or anything like that that we find in that lake. And so I'm really looking forward to this, and with working with some other teams that may be coming up to take part of that.
yes.
Missy, we were out recently on a search with Randy. We have multiple searches coming up on Randy's case, a few different locations. Some of those we will get to film on. There's one in particular, we're not allowed to film on it. It's private property. That's part of the getting permission from the property owner was, we're not going to reveal where this is, who it is, and that included filming. But we do have some we'll be filming on Randy's coming up as well. And I mean, we've got, if we just went with Randy's case alone, we've probably got 30, 35 locations right now to search for Randy.
So, Dennis, you see the blue Scorpio that just showed up in the chat?
Yes.
That is the mother of the girl I was talking about.
Oh, okay. Man. And Catfish just commented he has a boat that he is wanting to donate to Muddy Water Search and Recovery, and that would help assist in a lot of areas, and it would allow us to have multiple teams on the water running sonar. That would be really cool.
Yeah, it would.
And Blue Scorpio, we are very sorry what you're going through. Our thoughts and prayers continue to be with you and your family. And if there's anything we can do, please don't hesitate to reach out. I believe you're in contact with Dan. Is that right?
Yeah.
And you're in very good hands with Dan. I can tell you that. Dedicated.
Justin on TikTok put me and Scorpio together when he heard about that situation. Our main goal is to get her face all the way out into Andrews, Texas, because we have pretty good reason to believe that's where she's at right now.
Hopefully she is found and brought home soon.
Now, I will say this. I was highly impressed with the detective out in Andrews PD. Very polite, very willing and ready to help. He asked me to email him everything that we have over to him, and he will get it out to all of his officers. So I was very impressed. Oh, her name's Jody Pruitt. Or Jordan Pruitt, pardon me.
So I asked Alex while I was at work today, when we talked going live today and discussing what to talk about. And he mentioned the experiments we have coming up. I done a video yesterday or the day before asking for you guys' input on different things like this we can do. Our goal is to collect as much data off of this as possible to help us break down what happens when somebody goes missing, if a vehicle is involved, or ice, or whatever the case may be, to help us narrow down where they may be to get us on locations quicker. So if any of you guys have any ideas of experimental things we can do like that may help, please reach out and let us know. But Alex, do you want to talk about some of the experiments lining up?
So the one that I had talked about a while back was some of the cases where the factual evidence leads to possible the person, the child possibly going missing in the water. So we had discussed multiple times, well, how far could someone possibly go? Could they go a certain distance? Would they get caught up in stuff that's, in the river, etc. So when I first talked about it and thought about all this, I use Apple AirTags, and I have them hidden on my equipment. On my trailers, because I have stuff that's left all over the place. So to me, it's just a little reassurance, even though I have full coverage and it is what it is. I just like to, I can keep tabs. So I thought, well, wow, what if we took some type of floatable device and put like an Apple AirTag in it and went to some of these locations where somebody had, presumably gone missing, and try to recreate possibly the scenario and see where they possibly could have gone, So at first I was trying to think, well, I don't want to buy something that resembles a human because I don't want to cause panic if somebody sees something floating down the river. So I was thinking about buying the little, since Bobby's on, or, with Dennis, since they have boating experience, they have the little floatable buoy things that you can put like your wallet in, your phone, and you can zip it up. And if it fell overboard, it would float. It wouldn't sink. So I thought, well, what if we possibly found some of those found some of those. And I did. I found them on like Amazon and eBay, and put the Apple AirTag in it and go to some of these locations and throw them in, and we can track them, and see where they go. Well, the more I've learned about Apple AirTags is they only work if there's an iPhone in its premises, meaning it has to be able to bounce its signal off of another iPhone or any iPhone in order to read where it's at. So in the end, it's not going to work like I thought. So Dan here has another one. So I've been looking into some other ones. Of course, there are some that are very expensive and there's some is not. So I'm trying to find a satellite-based GPS tracker and not one that wants to ping off like an Apple AirTag. There's been some really good experiments on YouTube of people taking AirTags and putting them, in scrap cars and tracking them, because people said, oh, they don't send scrap cars to Japan and China. And they do. They really do. They smash them up, make them into cubes, and they ship them across. Well, once again, it was proven that they only have signal if there's a phone around for it to work. So we got to find something different. We got to find, and which brand do you have there, Dan? What was you showing us?
Life 360.
A Life 361. Now, is that a GPS-based satellite one? Okay. How much are those?
If you download or go to Life 360 and pay for their gold plan, they give you one for free.
Okay. So if we do the equivalent of 4 cases, if we pay for the gold plan, we get one for free. How much are the extra ones? You know by chance?
Let me see if I can't find out. Hang on.
So I know they make other ones, and there's some that are really quite expensive, and they're all GPS. But the Life 360 ones I've heard are pretty good. So I think that's probably what we'll go with, because the reality is I would like to be able to write a note, put it in the floatable device, telling who we are and what we're doing. And if they find it, there is a reward. Please send it back. There is a reward for you finding it if you return it to us, because every which way we can track it and do these type of experiment, this experiment, I think would truly try to help us understand, because, we've heard so many stories of, people that supposedly have, floated, all the way across the state.
So
I just don't believe that. I just don't believe that all the bridges with cars running up and down highways and overpasses would not see this or catch it, So not saying it wouldn't happen, but, we would just like to have some factual evidence. And, the best way to recreate something would be to have something that did look like a human, but we can't do that. Smaller ones, larger ones, larger ones to possibly create something that could be more of a human, full, person, adult size. Sorry, I'm having a little problem with the right words. And smaller ones maybe to recreate the size of a child, because we do have some cases of size of a child, so a young child. So, this is it's just a way to learn, and actually, I think if we could do this, learn from it, and then when we sit and we try to discuss cases and we try to look at some, evidence, we might be able to work our way through it and be like, no, this ain't going to happen. We can prove right now that this is just not going to happen. So yeah, that's one of the experiments. Of course, the main experiment of all will be still trying to find the 1985 Dodge 600 car, that's comparable to the car that Randy Leach had. Either a Dodge 600, a Plymouth Caravelle, or a Chrysler New Yorker, 1985, 1986. The Plymouth Caravelle was 100% identical to the Dodge 600. The Chrysler New Yorker was a little bit different, and that was just the front fascia and the rear fascia of the car, meaning the headlights, grill, and bumper. We've had so many experiments, we've talked about doing with it from, which of course we're past the point of, the time when Randy went missing and hiding it and seeing how long the actual car, the same color, it would take to disappear if somebody ran it off into the, if he ran off into the woods. We talked about, documenting the evidence of what the grass, the brush would look like if the car went through the woods and went into the water, because, we know the police would probably, we assume they would know how to look for these details. We talked about draining all the gas, the oil, all the liquids out of it and pulling it into a pond and documenting what it would look like from the air or from the bank of a pond, because we do know that they did, do air searches, and they were low ground air searches. So, what could the car look like if it was underwater a few feet, 5 feet? Would it still be seen? And we can document that through using a drone. We talked about digging a hole and burying it. What is the timeline? What is the noise? How fast could we dig a hole and bury it and cover it up? And then in the end is taking it to a salvage yard. Of course, we can call all the salvage yards at 3 a.m. and nobody's going to answer. But, what is the chain of events of loading the car up, getting down to a scrapper and getting it unloaded and watching it be picked up and crushed if they still do that. Sometimes they just pile them up. So, we're trying to not per se debunk stuff. We're just trying to learn. We're trying to understand all of these different scenarios when you have cases where they throw out all this information. You have 50 people basically throwing all these accusations, rumors, and everything about a person that's missing. And, we just want to work through it and try to understand so we can say, yeah, this is legit. This could have really happened. Or no, this is hogwash. There's no way this happened like that. So.
Yeah, because what? I don't hear you.
Who? Dan, are you there?
I can hear you now. Uh-huh.
Okay.
You were still talking and your lips were moving, but no sound.
Oh.
But see, and not only that, but what that will do is it will save a lot of resources knowing what can happen. You're funny, Dennis. I'm watching you
a little bit.
I can't see you guys too well on my phone, but I can see you on the laptop. Now, so what's the thought on a pig?
A pig? As in buying a pig and throwing it in the water and putting a tracker on it and watch. I mean, that's a great idea, not laughing to be funny about it, but, oh geez, I remember one time we were out in Baser and we were riding 4-wheelers and we went past this creek and I don't know what had happened, but somebody had thrown a bunch of pigs in the creek and they were all dead and they were all bloated and they were literally floating on top of the water like marshmallows and they just were all bobbling down the creek. So I don't know. I'm sure it's not the first time that alligators
You know.
Ida, I mean, that's very. I mean, these are great. These are great comments.
Oh,
I don't think.
the gator problem.
I'll be honest. I think there's people in the Kansas City metro area, and actually, Jeff, who is one of our members, we had just spoke about alligators today in the lakes around the Kansas City metro area. He would get a kick out of that if he was on tonight watching. So yes, there is rumors around the Kansas City metro area of people that were in the underworld of doing bad things that had alligators as pets, and then they became too big and they've ended up in possibly public waterways in the Kansas City metro area. I doubt in the river there is any. Some of the lakes, the deeper lakes, there probably is. But yeah, if we advertise, I mean, I guess not say advertise, but if we did the show and we documented that we had bought a deceased pig and we put the tracking unit on it and we did put it in the river and let it float down, and it would of course decompose and bloat up and then decompress and to go down and come back up. I mean, and if we left a note on, I'm not trying to laugh, but if we left a note explaining the serum experiment, maybe somebody could take things the wrong way and it might go bad. So I think in the end, the best thing is to get some type of the little pack, that you put your, a dry tight pack that floats. I can't remember what they call them, but you basically can put your phone in there and your belongings. And sometimes they have like a little telephone cord with a hook. And if it goes overboard, it'll just float and you can reach out and grab it. So I think in the end, that's probably the best thing that we could do and nobody would get in trouble and, like that.
I mean,
of course, I would love to be able to do it and recreate it the best we could, but it's really out of the question.
Alex, I got an idea. What if we stuck an air tag in a waterproof pouch and stuck it in your pocket and let you just float down a river?
I didn't hear. I heard you said, what if we took an air tag, or say that again now?
I said, what if we took an air tag or a 360 tile, put it in a waterproof pouch, stick it in your pocket, and see how far you can float down a river?
That's a fat joke.
No,
I can't believe my own team member. Is the audience did the audience just hear that my own team member just made a fat joke? I don't make bald jokes at you. Gosh, that hurts my feelings.
I hope you don't make bald jokes, because Dan and I are not the same up here.
I don't body shame nobody.
They heard it.
Along the lines of trying to recreate a human. I mean, if they know you're still alive, they know that we're not throwing this dead body in the river.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I don't go swimming unless it has a blue bottom with like seashells. I don't go swimming in the creeks and the rivers. No way. So I'll get in the boat.
Man.
I'll be in the boat and do research work, but I'm not getting in the water.
We have a creek search coming up that may be getting in the water. Come on, man. Don't leave me hanging.
I know. Do you know if I have to, I'll do it. No. The only person that does body shaming is Dan. Oh.
Poor Dan. He goes on TikTok and he catches grief, and he comes over here and he catches grief.
That's all right. I know he's joking.
Yeah.
I know. In all honest reality, it is a good idea. especially if you had somebody in a boat with you, documenting it. Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind floating down the river. I'm not afraid of the river. I might be afraid of what's in the river, but
Yeah.
Especially this one.
Yeah. I'm just not all about that.
You see, and you mentioned cases of a child. The case that brought up this idea is Jeremy Coots. And we do have some searches for him to do, but there is a really good chance that he went into the Missouri River. So being able to do something like this to help determine how far down that something can go would really help narrow down on the river where he may have went.
Yeah.
right. And with him being 40 pounds, all we would really need is like a life preserver and whether it be a weightlifting weight or whatnot to equivalent to 40 pounds, put the life tracker in there and see how far it goes.
That's a great idea, putting, a weight to it.
Bobby,
the thing that bothers me about Jeremy Coots's case, and I've expressed this, is, and I don't think none of us know 100% the details. We don't know A to Z, and we don't know all the details. I just have such a hard time believing that law enforcement did not, once they got the call that there was possibly a child that went in the river,
guys, I don't know nothing about any Red Bulls. Jeez.
All right, Alex.
Yeah. Just a little choked up.
Oh, you got choked up over us.
No, it's hard.
All these cases are rough, but when it involves a young child, nobody should go through that.
Those are the ones I can't handle.
Yeah, because I mean, think about it. You guys remember Overstreet, right?
Yes.
Found her. You got Jeremy Coots.
I guess in my thought is, why wasn't people farther down the river at all the bridges?
Yeah, that's what don't. I mean, you would think that they would cover all avenues when it came to that search.
Yeah, and and maybe they did. Maybe there was people at all the bridges, where that part of the river went down and through and all the way down, where it flows. But I haven't seen anything about that. I could be totally wrong. They possibly could have. But, why within the hour, why didn't they have helicopters? A helicopter running up and down the river to see if he was on top of the ice floating,
Now, I know that such an old case, there is a possibility that they didn't have the technology such as thermal imaging from the helicopter. So if he was underwater, it wouldn't show. Now, with his case, that pond is key. I really think that pond where they found his footprint, where the dog tracked his scent to, is probably where he's going to be.
Well, that's why I had said something the other day that I really think we need to try to get with the current owners, go the whole situation, ask if we can get in there with the boat, do sonar, because like how Dennis explained when we've talked about it so many times with them, they blew up the ice on the pond with dynamite and just all the ice and everything all stirred up, and then when they dragged it, I mean, if he was in there, he could have been floating. I mean, and it makes sense, in both situations make sense to what possibly could have happened to him,
Now,
but-
what they drugged the pond with?
Drag hooks.
So it's possible he could have when they drug it, he could have went in between the hooks.
Well, the hooks are attached to a bar that drags across the bottom of the pond, but that pond would have been so disturbed and worked up still from blowing it up with dynamite and then a boat back and forth through it so much that everything in that pond's going to be kind of swirling and off the bottom. So that drag hook would have went right underneath them. Then they're normally attached by a chain, at least back then they were. And all the chain would have done would have simply been moved them to the side as that goes through.
Right.
And then the river, looking at it from overhead may have been hard because the ice jam had just recently broke up around St. Joseph, and the river was covered with just big chunks of ice that was coming down through. Some of these were 5-6 feet, if not bigger in diameter, all floating downriver. And then the ice, that's another experiment we'll have to do with the whole river scenario, is being there at the right time to catch an ice jam coming through to see if he stepped out on a big chunk of ice and slipped, did his clothing catch on the side of the ice? Would that carry him further down? So that would be something that we would have to kind of recreate in a way, but it would come down to being there at the right time to do that.
Right.
And the only thing that really just sucks about this situation, I don't mean to use the word sucks, but is our winters up here are not like they were. No, they're nowhere as bad as they were 10 years ago.
No.
And they're nothing like they were in the late 70s.
Yeah, because 1977. So,
I mean it is. It was a totally different climate, and I grew up here my whole life in the Kansas City metro area. And I remember being a foot of snow on the ground multiple times, always deep snow, not being able to leave, not being able to make it home and having to go to somebody else's house, and it doesn't do that anymore.
Yeah.
And so, 100%, I don't know if we'll ever be able to recreate the ice that came down,
Right.
But I mean, all we can do is try at that time of the year. And, once we get around that date, if we have ice coming down, is to go and document it and see what it looks like,
right. I mean,
So
they say that ice was.
I'm sorry.
How thick was the ice?
It was chunks. It was breaking up and coming down the river, flowing south. But I think they said some of the ice chunks were 3 to 5 foot in diameter, up to like 8 foot in diameter, maybe. I I don't really remember off the top of my head if it was solid, just the whole river was a flowing chunks of broken ice, or there was chunks sporadically floating, because I mean, logically, when you think about it, and we've talked to some people, in my mind, what if he was on the edge of the bank and he just thought he could walk across it and he just was going to go walk, I mean, we can't think what he was thinking at that moment. So did he think it would be fun to just jump out?
I don't know how good you could see that. Is it showing?
You can't really see it all that.
There.
Yeah. So is that a possibility? Yeah. But then again, I mean, I think it's, I think of the time span of when he was in the yard playing with the other child, and then he walked off. And how long before the other child that he was playing with went in and told his mother that Jeremy was gone? What was that time pattern? How was it? Was it 15 minutes? Was it 30 minutes? I mean, you would think in the middle of wintertime, and I am by no chance, I'm not 100% saying anything else about this woman that was the babysitter. But what was she doing that she wasn't looking out the windows watching these two boys play? Why was she not paying attention? I mean, I don't get that. When my grandkids are here, they are not out of my sight, whether we're in the house or outside, if they're under my control,
Yeah.
and that's what chokes me up. But, I just wonder, what was the time frame? Did he have enough time to walk all the way down to that pond? And how did he know that pond was where it was at? Had he walked down there with somebody else?
Did the dog track the scent to the river first or the pond first?
I honestly don't remember. We would have to go back, read the book, probably talk with Jeremy's mother, which Dennis has talked with her quite a few times. So yeah, what path did he take? And why wasn't, I guess in my mind, if they tracked him to the pond, they blew up the ice, nothing happened. I guess in my head, my next moving forward with the pond would have been, get the pumps here. Let's drain the pond. Let's just get the pond drained. Who cares? Let's get it drained. Let's make sure 100% he's still not in here floating around under the ice. And we just wasn't able, not to say catch him, but you know what I'm saying.
Right. And being back in 1977, there's not a lot of technology that we have nowadays. I mean,
oh yeah, I mean,
Dan asked if they tracked the scent to the river or the pond first. Did you know?
I don't know which one they tracked to first, but they did track to both locations. Now, they didn't track from the house to the pond. The neighbor had said that he thought he had seen Jeremy on his pond dam earlier that morning. So they actually took the search dogs to the pond dam and let them start their search there. And he was picked, and this was the air scent dogs, and they were picking scent up from under the ice, and they did see a child's footprint on the pond dam. Now, when they tracked to the river, the dogs went from the house, they followed a trail towards the river, went over a log that had fallen on the ground, and then went right down to the river's edge. There was 2 different times the same dog went on that trail, and then eventually another dog come in and followed that trail as well.
I think the pond situation needs to be addressed. I think we need to reach out let the homeowners, whoever owns the property now, just be like, we're working on behalf of the missing child, the mother, the family. We would like to have another look at this again. We know it's been a long time, but we would like to be able to do something. If we remotely come across anything, I would say it would have to be either divers or it would have to be pumped. And I don't know how big a pond it is by any means.
It's pretty good size.
So I would say if we, and once again, I can't remember, but if there was any drawings, pictures of the pond in the book, and possibly the orientation of where the footprint was found. And I would think too, that, what was the timeline between when he went missing, possibly when he was seen on the vicinity of the pond, and how long before someone got to the pond and did anything. Was how thick was the ice on the pond? Was there any ice? There's multiple questions. If there was no ice on the pond, why would he have walked into the pond? That's kind of where it gets me at the pond. So there was ice. There was ice at some point because they blew it up. So
Right.
that does make sense what I just said. But I guess just trying to understand the timeline and also the conditions. How thick was the ice? Was it just a couple inches thick? So.
And guys, I normally don't do this, but mention the book. That is the book that Jeremy's mother, Melody Hathaway, wrote, In Search of Jeremy, A Mother's Story. Amazon, eBay. So if you pick up one of those, this is written very well, easy to understand a lot of things with this. So anybody interested, you could pick one of those up, and she writes the whole story down in here.
He's been missing since 1977.
You see, when you look at 1977 and a missing person with potential water involved, it's easy. And if this was, several months ago, even I would have had the mindset, you're not going to find anything. But again, it brings us back to Mead Lake, where they're finding full sets of remains that have been there for 50 plus years, and they are still there and have been recovered. So it shows it is possible. I mean, obviously this is a needle in a haystack, but definitely possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him being, what was he, 4 or 5 years old?
Yeah, he was 4.
And 40 pounds. I think he'd still be around. Let's see. He was last seen February 18th, 1977.
Yeah, I think we would have a better chance of definitely finding remains in a pond, because how many times the river has flooded up here.
Right.
Stuff, I just think it would be it'd be so hard to find anything, as many times as the river's been up and down and push stuff and logs, and just, I guess it would be amazing to see if somebody could document what goes on a river bottom, through the cycles of the seasons and, the rains and everything. If anybody could ever do that, that would be really interesting.
Now, okay, this would be a great invention. I want you guys to think about this. Think about ground penetrating radar that can go into water.
Oh, and read what's under the ground underneath the water. That would be. I mean, they have the marina magnetometers, but unless it's metallic, you're not going to pick nothing up.
Right.
So looking for remains, you know, GPR for underwater would be great.
Just think about how many times the rivers went up, went down, went up, went down, and all the soot has been stirred up and covers up things. Something like that would be instrumental to finding something that's maybe buried in the rivers.
I see somebody's made the comment about, I can't read it because my screen is cracked, but it says the Tennessee Body Farm. So I was actually trying to go. There we go. I was actually trying to go because my wife Tammy is from Tennessee originally and from Knoxville area. And I was actually trying, when we went down there on vacation last time, I was going to try to contact that department at the college and ask them, or basically tell them what I do and see if they would allow a sit-in if they were doing anything at the body farm to do some, you know, learning. So, but it didn't happen. I wasn't able to get with the right people in a timely manner.
And Alex, we have searches coming up that some of these it's going to be digging with heavy equipment again. Some of this is going to be in creeks. Some of this is going to be in a river, some in a small river, some in a well. We have a lot of stuff coming up.
We do. We really do. And cross our fingers that within the next within the next 2 months, we should have GPR. So it should work out for us. So and then we'll have quite a bit of equipment to do anything and everything. We have everything from being able to search in the water. You know, we have boots on the ground capabilities. You know, we have all the equipment that I have to do physical, you know, excavation digging. You know, we get that GPR unit. I feel that we have so many cases that until we ever have GPR, and I hate to say it like this, but they're just in limbo. Nothing will ever change with them, because anything that ever comes up about those cases is, oh, well, they're in the ground. You know, they were buried. They were put here. You know, and you know, I think a lot more people are up to, sure, you can push this lawnmower looking thing across my yard all day long in the hot sun. We don't care if you do that. They're more prone to let us do that than like, can we dig up your whole yard? I mean,
Right.
Supposedly right over there, that's where someone might be. So yeah. You know, and I think there's some other stuff. And then we learned about a new chemical stuff. And I actually talked to the chemist people today at the pharmaceutical plant about getting that chemical. So how do we say it? Nemahydrin? Nemahydrate? So I can't remember how you say.
Close enough.
So basically this chemical can be and we're still trying to learn about all this. So supposedly you can add it to water, you can add it to dirt with water, and if a human body has decomposed in like a well or a cistern or in the dirt, somehow supposedly this chemical will have a reaction with amino acids and the proteins, and it will possibly change colors, or it'll do something. It'll have some type of chemical reaction. And so that is something that we're basically learning about.
It reacts to the nitrogen the body releases.
Is that what it is? So, or maybe it's the aminos and something else in it that has the reaction. I remember hearing those words, but
Yeah. The way they break down, that releases a certain form of nitrogen, and that's what it's picking up. It's from those acids, but it's the nitrogen that it's creating.
Oh, okay. So, so yeah, that's something we've kind of been, learning about. The question is how does it tell the difference between a human body and a raccoon or a dog or a cat that fell in a well and couldn't get out, So supposedly it's able to do this. So I don't know, going forward in the future with Muddy Waters, if we will be, we can buy it online. We have found that out. Anybody can buy the stuff. It's definitely something that we're trying to, we will be trying to learn more about it, and doing searches and all that. So it's very interesting stuff.
That's like, if you think about it, Crystal Kipper, she went missing in what, 97, 95, something like that. And that area, either that chemical or GPR is probably the only thing that's going to close those cases. And it's going to be more than just Crystal's case right there.
Right.
Yeah, I think you all hit it on the head when we talked about the guy who was linked to Crystal and possibly all these other girls in the same time period in the same area that were missing. I mean, to me, he was a walking, talking predator nonstop, looking for any female that he had an opportunity to do something. And let's be honest. I mean, how many pieces of clothing did we find in the farm field that day?
Right.
We found numerous pieces of clothing that was coming up out of the ground in the corn stalks, everything. Could it possibly been pushed down the river during floods? Well, of course it could have been. But it was, some area was 30, 50, 100 feet away from the creek that goes to the river. I still have that stuff.
I mean, think about it. It was somewhere around 20, 30 different missing women in that time frame that all went missing from where he was living at.
That was a big, I remember that stuff when that was happening. I remember when Crystal Kipper went missing. I remember hearing it on the radio. Driving and going, doing stuff and on TV, locally, because I'm here right from where it happened. So it's always, and I guess at that time period, there was prostitutes, that had gone missing. I think there was some strippers, that had gone missing. And then there was just regular people that had, regular women that had gone missing. And there's not to say that there couldn't have been men that went missing in the same time period that possibly could have had a connection. And I know, and I think from the research you did, Dan, or you and Dennis both did, but I think one of you came up with his address, and then a lot of the girls that went missing were just blocks or miles, right around his house.
Yeah, a lot of them was blocks around his house.
Yeah. You know, the thing that gets me is she went all the way, she went to St. Joe and was coming back. And he evidently was behind her, or he could have got off at the exit where KC Bobcat is, the New Tracks, the Antique Mall. There, you know, the Tracy exit by the Platte County Fairgrounds. We call it the third Platte County exit, the Platte City exit, because it's basically the third exit. You know, he could have seen her, gone right up, came back around, and got right back on, and then backed up to her.
Yeah.
But why was he up here in this area at that time of the morning? Was he that type of predator that was just out driving, looking for somebody that broke down on the side of the road? Or was he following her? You know, did he have some connection to her? You know?
And correct me if I'm wrong, she went missing right after leaving work or a bar, right?
She went ice skating with a friend who lived in St. Joe, and she had driven him home and left him and was on her way back home to Kansas City. And she ran out of gas on I-29. A truck driver driving by reported to law enforcement that he seen her outside of her vehicle. She looked really worried, but he saw another vehicle backing up to her and thought that she must have called for help or something, and somebody was there to help, so the truck driver kept going.
And he's the one that got his window replaced the following day, and the guy said it looked like it was kicked in from the inside, right?
Yes. And then we had somebody reach out, and his vehicle was reported seen later that morning around the time it starts getting light. And it happens to be an area that he was known to frequent, and it is really secluded there. So that is where we have been searching, is that area.
Fishing.
Yeah, he allegedly fished that area a lot, and if he did that particular area, he would have known really well.
I mean, and if our audience doesn't know that this particular guy 100% is the reason she's not here, so he had another lady tied up in his apartment, and she was able to get away, and she went to the police. The police went back, and when they took him into custody and they went through his apartment or house, they were able to found her belongings. I think they found her wallet, her driver's license. I think they found the clothes that she was wearing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we know 100% he's the reason she's not here today.
And he also admitted to law enforcement that he did kill her and bury her close to Platte City, Missouri. And the day before they charged him, he did commit suicide in jail.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that leads to this guy. I mean, because he's already got 2 check marks by his name that he's nabbed women, and all these women that went missing right in literally just blocks, a mile or 2 right from his house where he lived. It so points to him that he was possibly doing this.
I wonder all that. Hang on. I wrote it down when I tracked it all up.
And just to let the audience know, this is where Dan shines. That Dan does a really great job.
See, we do have a water sonar search coming up at that location just to ensure that the water is cleared. But, I agree with Alex. Until we have GPR there to actually read what's underneath there, there's not a lot we can do on the ground there. And I mean, potentially 23, 24 people could potentially be found at this property.
And just for the audience, if you can go back to, our YouTube page, and you scroll back through all the videos, you will find the video where we were there doing our search, pictures, everything. So, and I know this sounds weird, but what's great about this situation is the landowners who own all the farmlands, they are 100% behind us, because even they have told us that every year when they go to cut corn, that they're always afraid they're going to find somebody, deceased, like foul play was involved on their property along the creek that leads to the river. So to make it short, they are 100%. They understand that we're still trying to acquire GPR. And when we get it, we still have permission to go back, continue searching. Of course, we would wait till fall after they do their crops, but yeah. Okay, Dan.
All right, so you guys can laugh at me all you want. If I would have went through my notebook from the front page back, I would have found it, because it was the very first page. But there is 41.
41 possible missing.
Yep.
That could be related to him.
Yep.
Wow. I remembered it was a lot. I didn't remember it was 41. Holy moly.
All of them went missing from around his apartment within a mile range.
And the police didn't think to do something sooner.
Well, he lived in Kansas City, Johnson County, I believe it was, Jackson County, Missouri. And this particular location is actually in Platte County, Missouri. And I don't know how it was back then. I know many times when you've got different law enforcement agencies from different counties, sometimes it seems almost like a competition to keep the other ones out. We see that occasionally. I don't know if it was that way back then, but law enforcement, I've spoken with them, Dan has spoken with them, and of course they let us know they can't tell us details because it is an active investigation. But everything that we've been able to find and that's come in on this, I firmly believe there's something on that property.
Yeah. I just feel there's way too many articles of clothing coming out of the ground. And at this time, the section where we actually found all the articles of clothing, and if you guys had to back me up on this, because I think I'm thinking of the right thing. When we did the historical images, the document stuff, that time period, that section of land where we found all the clothes was still woods. It had not been cleared for farming. So if it's truly coming up out of the ground, it's because it was in the ground, I would presume, because it was still woods. It was not vacant farmland. They had not cleared it yet. And that's all you can, we looked it up, on historical imaging sites, because that's how part of the things that we do when we try to research stuff, you know. And if that's the case, and he was known to have gone to this area to go fishing all the time, I mean, he could have been going fishing the whole time and had shovels laid out everywhere, and he could have been back there throwing in his catfish pole and digging holes. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but that's the reality, you know. And you know, we'll never know till we work that whole area with GPR. I mean, that's going to be a lot.
Yeah, I think that location is going to close a lot of cases.
Yeah.
It's just all adds up. It all connects to him. And with him constantly frequenting that location at strange hours of the night, I might add.
Yeah. And I think if we go back, and I could be wrong, but wasn't Crystal, was she not stripping?
She was, but she had recently quit.
She had recently quit. So, in the reality of things, he probably had met her at the strip club. He probably had been watching her, following her, got obsessed with her, or maybe it just didn't matter. Maybe he just, I hate to use the word like easy prey, but you know, there was so much going on around that time period. So, but hopefully, go ahead.
You saying that, you know, ladies, please be cautious out there. This is a crazy world we live in that's just seems to get crazier every day. And, you know, you guys being here tells me you all look into these cases and work on them too. And doing this, you see the evil things that people do to each other. So just be mindful, be safe, you know your surroundings, know who's around. Always have a safe way to get out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people these days, even though people want to believe in people and believe in people that they're good, I think you should always pay attention to your surroundings. I mean, you should always you should always pay attention more than you do when you drive, you know, and just how people act these days driving, you know. But, you know, you always want to believe the best in everybody and in the world. But you also have to look out for yourself and your family, even your friends that are with you. You know, you have to be your brothers and your sisters' protectors, even when they don't seem to be protecting themselves. You know, you should always look out because, I mean, it's proof bad stuff happens every day. I mean, I know we've discussed it in the past, but does anybody right now know the current statistics on missing people daily?
Not daily. I know yearly.
Yeah.
Anywhere between 450 to 600,000 people go missing every year.
Where are these people going? You know, I mean, the reality is where in the world can all these people be going?
Well,
you know?
They on average, anywhere between 85 and 92% of them are located, but that still leaves a very large number that have not been located.
Yeah. I mean,
27 minutes, somebody said in the chat.
Yeah, and according to Newsweek, 2,300 Americans are reported missing every day.
So let's how many times does 50 go into 2,300? 50 states. What's the math? Who's got a calculator?
Well, this was all across the United States, so.
Well, I'm just saying, on an average, if 2,300 people out of 50 states, how many people average per state do you think possibly? Because, I mean, of course, we know it's not every state is the same, but just what would be the average for 50 states on 2,300 people?
46.
So 46 people. My word.
And
almost 2 people an hour go missing.
you know what's scary? Okay, so California is ranked number 1, Florida's ranked number 2, and Texas is ranked number 3. But it really looks like Tennessee's trying to beat that.
Yeah.
It is insane in Tennessee. It's like every day you see somebody else going missing in Tennessee. Every day.
So with currently what's going on, what do you think it is, Dan? Is it drug related? Is it trafficking? Is it?
Well, it's a variety of things. I mean, a lot of it has to do with familiar abductions, families, close relatives, friends, stuff like that. But trafficking can never be ruled out in any case because of the fact that that is a massive problem. It's a $150 billion industry in this country.
And
that. And with Tennessee being the corridor of trafficking because of its central location of that area, you can get into multiple different states within an hour.
Oh yeah.
And when I pulled up, okay, this is ironic. I don't know if it's a coincidence or if this is really what's going on. But when I pulled up the NamUs site and I put it on the map mode and I zoomed out a little bit, you will notice that there is a line of where all these people are going. It's almost a straight line across the country, and it's right down Highway 81.
Wow.
And Highway 81 connects to Route 66.
It's so crazy.
And we've got multiple cases that we're working on that does look like trafficking is involved.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Caitlin. You got Caitlin. You got
Jessica Foster.
Crawford. Well, we know what happened to Angel Gilbert. It's just a matter of finding her body. Angela Hammond, Angela Green. There's a lot of them that could be Breonna Miller. There's a lot that could be tied to human trafficking. I mean, we got what? This is a new case list that you sent over. 250 active cases, and they're still growing.
Yeah, because we have some new ones I have to get moved over onto that.
It's a massive problem.
So Gunner's comment here, maintaining I can't say that word. Awareness probably prevent some of this. I absolutely agree 1,000 billion%. I don't believe the news does enough proactive talking to parents to talk to their children to make awareness of the things that go on. And I don't know why they don't. I mean, I would, would it make a difference? I believe it would, I just don't get that. I do not understand why we do not see more of this stuff on the news being discussed and talked about. I don't know why they don't do it.
Well, see, that brings up another thing. Okay, so in New Jersey, an 11-year-old was coached out of her house through the game Roadblocks. Thank God she was found. But long story short, applications like that for kids, they shouldn't have the ability to chat. I mean, you can turn it off as parents, but they shouldn't even have that feature. If it's labeled for a child and up, it shouldn't have that feature. Now, if it was 17 and up, that'd be different. But they shouldn't have that feature. None of them games should have the ability to do private messages.
Yeah.
But how many of the perverts and all that will sign something up as a parent and make a fake account for a fake child and get in there and log in as the fake child with the permission of the parent when it's actually the pervert person that's pretending to be the parent and the child? I mean, how do we stop that? How do we, that's the thing. How in the world does this stuff ever stop? How are we able to stop it?
Because with that, if we think about it, we all have the mindset that this would not happen to us. This can't happen to us. But these missing people likely believed it couldn't happen to them either, and it did. It's
Right.
so easy to have that mindset, and yet it happens, 40 something times a day.
Yeah. It's just sad. It's so sad that I learn everything that we talk about and discuss as a group, of course, is learning. It's educational, it's research. My second place that I go to whenever there's a new case, somebody's name gets brought up, of course, I always go to YouTube because sooner or later somebody's talked about it on YouTube. Of course, you can look up all the Facebook pages, but the third, the other place where I learn stuff, and it is what it is, but Netflix and Prime, they have so many wonderful educational type documentaries about missing people's cases, people that were found that were murdered, and all this stuff. And it's I just wish the news would put as much effort into it as everybody else does. Maybe the news is like, oh, social media stuff will take care of it. Let's worry about other things. Like, I saw today that the Chiefs could possibly be moving to Texas because of Clark Hunt.
So
I'm like,
I'm glad.
I love the Chiefs. I could care less at this point. Why? Why haven't? It just kills me. It really does.
I'm really glad you brought that up because what's sad is we can find information on an Amber Alert before even a news station has picked it up. Not even one story.
Yeah. Why don't news stations have some computer box right here on a desk that every time a child or a senior citizen anybody that goes missing, why doesn't this box have a light that flashes and it goes off and it prints out a thing and you hand it to somebody?
Yeah.
Why don't they have some? I mean, maybe they do. Maybe they do have something and we just don't know about it. But why don't they have something like that? I mean, didn't they used to have, what is that thing called? They used to have some printer thing that would print off something that had something important on. I can't even remember what it's called. But nevertheless, why don't they have something like that has Amber Alert warnings that would automatically print off and they can immediately go type it up and put it on the TV screen, no matter if you know, the nightly news is on, or Wheel of Fortune's on, or Oprah, or whatever. I'm just saying in general. You know, why don't they do that?
So, listen to this, Alex. We had this discussion on TikTok of different ways to get these missing persons faces out into the public. Okay, and we started talking, and we came up with the idea of, since they don't do milk cartons anymore, and they waste the back of the papers for printers for grocery stores with coupons, how hard is it to put a missing person's face on the back of a coupon or receipt?
All it would be is a simple. Well, here's the thing: all those companies on the back of the receipt are somebody's getting a kickback somewhere. Somebody's getting 50 cents. Somebody's getting 10 cents a receipt. I mean, 1 cent a receipt. So there's a kickback to something because every one of them's got a coupon for, you know, a free ice cream cone at Dairy Queen, you know, $10 off, $30 at El Richo Metro Mexican Cantina. I mean, we've all used them. I have. I ain't gonna lie. I've used my, you know, $5 off for a Casey's pizza. So yeah, why can't they put missing people on the back of? I mean, it makes sense. Why not do it? Because there's no kickback and nobody. I'm not saying there's not enough generous, kind people in the world, but when it comes down to it, more than not, you know, it's like when you go. I went to Arby's today for lunch, and the last thing the lady was, "Well, sir, would you like to donate $1 to the something something foundation for something something?" I couldn't even understand what it was, and I'm like, "Yeah." Anytime I go somewhere and they ask for $1, I don't care what it is. I say, "Yeah." Would you like to round up to the next dollar to donate to the Lego Foundation for children that live in the countryside? I'm like, "Yeah." I don't care. I do it, you know, but I don't think there's enough people that have it in them to basically that would do it. You know, it's a great idea, Dan. Absolutely, it's a great idea.
But think
You know,
about all the pizza chains. How hard would it be to
put them on the box.
on the box?
Why not put it on the Big Mac box?
Right.
You know, why not put it on the Cantina chicken tacos at Taco Bell? I mean, let's be serious. Why doesn't anybody do this? I don't know.
Honey.
Here's a dumb question. When did they stop doing the milk cartons?
I don't remember.
I know that makes me sound really young, but I don't remember it.
I would say, honestly, probably logically, is when they went away from milk cartons to plastic gallon jugs. I would say probably when we had that switch over, it kind of fell away. I mean, the only time I see cardboard milk carton milk is like the lactose intolerant milk, the almond milk, all that stuff comes in the old school type things. But
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there could be so many companies, you know, and it's not like they can't write it off as a tax write-off donation type situation for their own well-being. I mean, you got to pay. Dennis, why doesn't your company put people's faces on their bags? I mean,
Right?
why doesn't the pharmaceutical company put people's faces on the back of their medicine bottles? I mean, there's so many reasons why or why not people will do it, you know. I don't know. You know, I mean, there's so many opportunities that nobody takes advantage of it.
I
You
mean,
know,
this. When you go to an airport, how many empty walls, empty windows do you see when you go to an airport?
I would say 60-70% could be possibly empty with nothing on it.
Yeah. How hard is it for them to do what Walmart does and put flyers up?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean there's so many ways that, you know, people in areas where there's such a high amount of missing people, towns, cities. Why doesn't somebody go up to, Homer's Mini Mart gas station and be like, "Hey, man, you think we could work with you and do this?" I mean, you got a lot of people that come in here and, get gas, they get, pop, cigarettes, whatever. There's always people in here all hours of the night. Why can't you put things on their receipt? Why can't you go to the gas pump instead of watching the national news network on the digital TV screen at the gas pump? Why has it got to play that crap? Why can't you play missing people's thing of your area that the gas station's at? I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of different ideas. There really is.
They don't do it.
Yeah.
De Niro.
Yeah. But in the end, that they buy the paper, it's a write-off. They have to have the ink printed on the paper. They buy the invoices with their company name on it. It's all a write-off. What difference if they just add that to it? It's still a write-off. It's still a business expense. So.
Yeah, see, Lotto, like she just said, Lotto has the alerts on their Lotto screens on the inside.
Oh, really?
I mean, how hard is it?
Yeah.
It's hard to combat a problem when our government doesn't want to help. Our billionaires in the country don't want to do anything but buy Gucci and all these multi-million-dollar mansions. I mean, there's so many people that could do something to help combat this problem.
Yeah.
To them, they don't see it as a problem, but it's one of the biggest epidemics in this country right now.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to talk about the bats.
That's true. I mean, a lot of times it's out of sight, out of mind situations, not my problem. I have more. I need to worry about my own family than somebody else's family.
Yeah.
And that's a sad thing too. Did Dennis just get attacked by the cat? I mean, yeah. I mean, it's really hard to get people to help. So
it really is.
That's one of the reasons I'm so thankful to all of the people across social media and YouTube that continue to keep these cases out there in the public eye, because somebody has to do it, and you all are doing incredible with that.
Yeah.
Which brings us to one of your ideas again, Alex, of setting up in parking lots, putting a booth out there, having missing persons flyers up, and getting these out in the public.
That's one of the the things that we've talked about doing, and I want to do. I have a box truck, a pretty good sized box truck. And, one of the things I wanted to do this summer was, go to areas, where there is a high number of missing people. And, once again, if we could get donations to have banners made, it would be wonderful, but it is what it is. So, getting banners made and using magnets and sticking them on the side of the truck and then having some whippy flags and put up a tent and basically try to get permission from businesses to set in parking lots and, try to get people to pull. They'll see like, well, what's this about? And pull in, and talk to us and be able to hand out flyers, but have, banners hanging on the side of the truck as people drive by and have a big banner that says, local missing people, to do it and see where it leads, because in the end of everything, anything is better than nothing, if you share it on Facebook, if you share stories, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, anything like that is a blessing to help share, because if not, it's like a long time ago, we talked about some cases, and there's so many of these people that are been missing since the 50s and 60s, 70s, up to early 80s. Nobody talks about them no more. Very rarely do they come up in some type of video, and I had done some videos last year of, I was doing the KBI stuff, which if you're been with us for a while, I was doing the missing people's reports for the KBI and the Missouri Highway Patrol. And one time I decided, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do the old reports, not the most current stuff. I'm going to go back as far as I can and find the first missing people that was documented and recorded, which we know by far is not the original ones. It's just where the Missouri Highway Patrol and the KBI started. And I did 1951 through 1965. I was trying to break it up. And there are so many cases, nobody talks about them. They are long gone, forgotten, and it's sad, and then the other sad thing is a lot of these people would have been deceased by now just due to age, but if we don't keep the word out, if we don't promote, if we can't give up, because if people give up, people will be forgotten about. And that's it's sad for the families who do need help, but don't really know how to go about it, Yeah. So, because, let's be honest, 10 years ago on Facebook, was there a 500 million, justice for Joe Bob, justice for, blah, blah, blah? No, there wasn't. There was none of those pages. That stuff has gone out of control just in the last, I don't know how many years.
Listen, there is at least 12 Find Sebastian pages. Just
why does there need to be 12?
Because everybody wants to post their theories and certain people don't like it, so they kick them out of the group, and those people make new groups.
I wouldn't know nothing about getting kicked out of a group.
I think that was coming.
You guys know me. I don't bite my tongue too well. And
no.
I've said a few things in those groups that people didn't like.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't.
This is actually the Missouri River that's on the thing behind us. And I know there's been a lot of teams come up and search several spots on the river. And we have some areas on the river to search as well. But it's been, I know here in Leavenworth, Kansas, the search and rescue team is a fire department that, 2 miles? Maybe 2 miles from our house. And I know they're always training and practicing and everything here at the Leavenworth Bridge. So that area has seen a lot of searches. I don't know if it would be possible to do 100% search of the river, but it's a work in progress.
I think we could do 100% search if we had a severe drought.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that would be the way, but it's so high right now. And I mean, let's be honest, is it going to rain tomorrow? I mean, it rains every day, it seems like now.
Right.
I can't keep up with the grass at none of the houses, at the pharmaceutical plant. Can't keep up with anything. So
Now, see, and like Dennis was saying a few times on other live streams, if there's people out there going fishing in a boat, monitor your screen, your sonar. If you see something, call it in.
yeah.
Don't just look for the fish on the sonar.
I mean, it's pretty safe to say with the technology of what people are using today for fishing, because let's be honest, everybody wants the best of the best. Get that fish, you know. The reality is you can tell the difference if it's a car or a log. I mean, the technology is that good these days that 9 times out of 10, if it looks like a car, looks like a truck, it's a car or a truck. I mean, let's be honest. You can't second guess it. I mean, I remember a couple months ago, a certain somebody had a video where he had put it up and he was looking for a young man in a car, and they had come to like I think it was one of their last places that he's got to be here. And I remember they're riding on the boat. One guy's driving, one guy's looking at sonar, and they literally go past this car. And I'm not trying to be gross. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but it looks like somebody is floating out of the car window like this. And I'm like, how could you not think that is a human being tried to get out of the car and got stuck and unfortunately drowned? And I remember when he finally went in the water, it spooked him. I mean, he literally was like, oh, when he actually came up on the person that was missing. And it was this person. And it was clear that he tried getting out of the car and he got tangled up and he couldn't. And he unfortunately drowned. And I really think I'd have to go back and watch it, but I think they deemed it as an accident. It wasn't suicide. And I think he got caught up in the seatbelt or something, and he unfortunately drowned trying to escape. But when they went by on the boat with the sonar, I mean, you couldn't have, it looked so real that there's no way you could sit there and say, that's not what that is. I mean, it was, I'll never forget that. I'm like, oh my gosh, how could you not think that's not what that possibly is? Because it did. It looked like somebody hanging out the car door, floating like this, stuck, you know?
Or what about Brooke Allensworth? I mean, you could clear as day see her skeletal remains and the weight that was used to hold her down on the sonar image, and they missed that.
And I think we did some research trolling work, and a person of interest worked out with weights. And I think we seen the weights in the background of some pictures, like on the floor. Pretty. Where did that go?
She's still missing. We were working with another team that I fully trust 100% to get them in there to get that location searched. I was asked by, it come from law enforcement, to please hold off just a bit. Let us get in there, get this. We have a team coming in. We'll get this search done. The last I heard, they ended up bringing in an aerial drone a couple weeks later, but to my knowledge, they've never been back out there. So I said it back then. I said it to law enforcement at the time that they had till sometime this year to have that pond searched and figured out, or we're going to come down and do it. So it's looking like we're going to be going to Arkansas as well and getting on that location.
Yeah, it's just there's just so many crazy situations and stuff where stuff just doesn't. Sometimes I just wonder if the police, since it's not, I don't even know the word to use, but if it's not law enforcement, they don't take what other people say serious. You know, even if you show them somebody laying here on the ground and say, here's the person you're looking for, they'd be like, well, we got to go out and check the situation. No, look, this is what this looks like. And then they'll blow it off. They'll be like, well, you know, I'm not saying they all do that, but it seems like it seems like there's more than not that won't accept help or will not look at somebody else's evidence.
I do not have Rachel Cook out of Texas on my list at the moment, but I can get that added on there and we can look into that as well.
What did they stop in 96? What did I miss? I don't see it.
And real quick, I do want to remind everybody, if you have a missing person in your family, friends with them, or if you're working on their case and you want another platform to help get attention to those cases, you have an open invite with us anytime to join us on a live feed, to share the story, share the case, and get that out there. So that open invite is good from now till as long as there's some muddy waters.
Yep.
Hmm. 23 years ago. Wow.
Wow. And we'll definitely look into that. So guys, while Megan is here, I've had some more emails and messages come in, people asking how they could help us out. Normally we don't come on here doing the whole push for money and all of that good stuff, but we're going to go ahead and share the links with you guys. We have the GoFundMe, we have the Amazon wish list, and I mean, with the searches that's coming up, we have a search that we're traveling out a little bit on in July. I'm going to Nebraska, Gering, Nebraska in August to do a search for Chance Engelbert. It looks like we're probably going to end up down Arkansas direction with Brooke Allensworth, Southern Missouri, Mark Fullerton. And that stuff does get expensive, plus the GPR we're trying to acquire. So those are ways that you can help. One of the easiest things you can do is hit the subscribe button, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, consider becoming a member. But the other way we have is Megan has Crooked Trail Designs. And all of our Muddy Water t-shirts comes from her. And 100% of the proceeds from the t-shirts comes to Muddy Water Search and Recovery, and a percentage of the profits on her other merchandise also comes to Muddy Water Search and Recovery. So it's good that you're helping both of us, and yet you're getting something really cool in return. And she wanted to show you a few of the things that she has that you could find over on her Etsy account. So I talked her into it.
You wanted me to show. Yeah, my Crooked Trail designs, I've said it 100 times. I make jewelry, keychains, just little trinkets like that. And like Dennis said, a good portion of my proceeds go into Muddy Waters because, you know, I'm part of that company. I'm going to help too. So, but, yeah, I can, with Memorial Day coming up, I have some patriotic things I have created, and I know I've showed them before, but I'm gonna show them again. So yeah, I have bracelets that are really hard to see because I am short. I got charm bracelets. I've got necklace. Yeah, thank you. Necklaces.
Is it on there?
Yeah, but you can't see it. It's blending in the back. I have.
I should take a picture of it and use it as the background.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know how the green.
I've got charm bracelets that are really hard to see. And these I just got the other day. I have these little wing earrings that are with the American flag. Yeah. But I mean, I have stuff like that, and I've started to make these little, I don't even know what you would call these, keychains, wristlets, I don't know. The wooden beads and all that stuff. So that's part of what I've been doing lately. Most of this is on my Etsy page, but the rest of it will be on shortly. So yeah, just look at it over there. And like we said, the proceeds help out with Muddy Waters. The t-shirts are on there. I mean, all sorts of stuff's on there, so you guys can check it out.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, and the link will be in the description.
Awesome.
We're also renting out Alex by the hour.
Yep. Yep. I can do it all. I can dig you a pool or make you a batch of Pepto-Bismol. Whatever you need.
Alex is our chemist.
That's right. I am slowly being trained in the art of medicine making. So
Jack of all trades.
I just finished my batch today. All 650 gallons of it. So it took me 3 days to make.
Make what? Pepto-Bismol?
I'm actually, it looks like Pepto-Bismol. Actually, it's a liquid ulcer medicine. So yes, I've been working with a chemist. He has been training me on the art of making medicine. So it's been quite the learning experience. Auction, I need a waterfall put in. Can you install flooring? No, I can't do flooring. But if it requires equipment and digging dirt and stuff like that, I can do that. Or, I mean, I can make brownies. No.
You can make brownies. You got to prove this.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I try to learn. That's all you can do. You know? So.
I can eat brownies.
Yeah. Deb says I have stomach problems. So that's cool. Yes. So from what I've learned, there is only one liquid ulcer medicine on the market. So that's why the people that I help, they are making it. So do you dust? I do with the leaf blower.
Gunner, Dennis, that's a good question for you.
I have applied for the 501c3 nonprofit status. We're waiting for the state of Kansas to get this approved. The first time going through, the law firm that I'm going through had a misunderstanding over in their law firm, and they did not get the EIN number they were supposed to. So that delayed it, but everything has been in, and any day now, we will get our approval. And at that point, we would qualify for grants and different things like that. And with that, once we have that, we will be able to give receipts for any donations that come in, and the donors can use that on their taxes and all of that good stuff as well. I wish they would hurry and get this done. It seems like we have been waiting on this forever, but any day now, this will come through. And that was the only thing that held it up the first time, was they didn't obtain the EIN number, which they were paid to do. But thankfully, once done in Kansas, what will it take to become nationwide? There is a gray area there, but we would be now, like, if you were to like donate, we would still be able to give you a receipt that you would be able to claim. The what's it called? Basically going to another state and soliciting contributions. Some instances we would have to register in that state as well. But for the most part, any donations that do come into us, we will give the receipt and you could claim that. And Gunner, absolutely they can. And Deb said cat in the face.
Yeah, I thought the cat was going to take you out.
He can be the sweetest cat. He can be the meanest cat. And he's got a light switch between
I thought you were going to say he could be the sweetest cat or he can be the outdoor cat. I thought
Yeah.
Hey, I got kittens.
Good for you.
I think Brantley wanted one.
Not too bad. No.
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 I got a gray one, and he's got white feet, and then I got a orange one, and then I got a orange, white. I guess it's a tabby color, and then I got an all black one, but he's got a weird looking head on him. I know this sounds weird, but his head looks like your typical alien head. I don't know if he's deformed. I think he's deformed. So, but they're up and playing and their eyes are open. So, but I keep telling Taylor, Tammy's daughter, I'm like, I don't know, that black one's head, something's not right with him. His head's like an upside down triangle. So he looks like he's got an alien head on him. So he's cute.
A little bit.
What?
Can you look to the side a little bit? I'm trying to compare heads to the cat. I mean,
Uh-oh.
Man, Dan. That's twice tonight. Or is that 3 times?
Dan, I think Deb knew you was up to something there.
uh-huh.
Man. I'm going to have to come by and dig up your internet line on accident. Hey, I'll tell you guys a little story about digging. So about 2 months ago, I hit a AT&T fiber optic line.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I flat ripped it out of the ground. I'm talking a bundle of wires like this big. And I thought, wow, it's not marked. I mean, it was not marked. And I thought, well, it must be dead. So I left, and that was Friday, and came back Monday morning, and there was half a dozen AT&T trucks. And I pulled up and I rolled the window down, and the guy goes, "Are you the guy that took out the line?" And I said, "Are you the guys that didn't mark the line?" "Yeah, we didn't mark it because it wasn't on our thing." I said, "Well, it's not my fault I hit it because it wasn't marked." And he goes, "It's not your fault. We just need to know if it was you." And I was like, "Yeah, it was me. I'm not going to lie to you. I hit it fair and square." He goes, "You know how much this costs to fix?" And I said, "It's not my problem. It's not my problem." So, yeah. So from Friday afternoon till Monday late afternoon, nobody had internet or phone. And it was like 500 and some houses.
Oops.
I was like, "I'm sorry, but hey, you guys didn't mark it." So stuff happens. So wasn't the first time, and won't be the last. So
Oh well.
that's what I say. Oh well. I hit a gas line 3 years ago with a trencher. Wasn't marked. Yeah, everybody threw their hands up and started running away. And I'm like, "Where are y'all going?" And I'm like, and all of a sudden I see the chunk of yellow plastic come through the trencher on the loader. And I was like, "Oh crap." So I shut it off and I got out and ran. And so, yeah, you got to call the police. You got to call them. And then the gas company came out. And luckily it had a shutoff valve that if it had a high pressure release, I guess they put shutoff valves in the mains now. And they came out and started yelling, and we got out. They give us 2-foot tape measures that are about 6 inches wide and 24 inches. And if, you know, that's your safety on each side of whatever you hit. And I was out of it, and I'm like, "You guys mismarked it." I said, "It's not my fault. Didn't have to pay for it." So luckily I haven't had to pay for any of them that I've hit that they've mismarked. So
Crazy.
it is. Once again, I think it's people that don't really care about their jobs. If they mismark it, they mismark it. No big deal. So,
Yep.
And in the end, the customers are the ones that pay, you know, because they lose their internet or they don't have no gas line, you know. So, I've taken out, and like I said, none of them, I mean, yes, I hit them fair and square. I take them out, but it's because they were mismarked. I didn't see the blue water line and go dig on top of the blue water line and hit it. So it's usually because they get mismarked. So, or they're not even on the thing for the utility marking people to see it. So if it's not on their stuff, they don't mark it because they don't think it's there. So no, it's okay. And I have a good time. I destroy stuff all the time. It's just life.
Yeah. Don't let Deb kid you. She ran over her phone with a lawnmower.
She just
Hey, Tammy left my phone on one of the loaders a couple years ago. She left it on the track, and I didn't see it. I just got in it and took off and rolled right over it. Didn't even hurt it. So,
And you guys are going to get to see Alex dig at some point, because at some point there will be a property that he's out there with the equipment digging that we will get to film, and you guys will get to see that.
oh yeah. Yep.
And one more thing I wanted to bring up tonight, and I mentioned this just the other night, but here recently we had a case and we done a search on it. We were going to search another location, but had been told by a credible source that it had been thoroughly searched, completely, extensively, and was cleared. Roughly 2 years later, somebody walking through there found human remains, and it turned out to be that person. So I do want to bring up again that when we start talking about doing a search, or you see us search a property that you know somebody else has searched, we're not doing that because we don't think that they done it right or that we're better. We are going to do that just for our own peace of mind and know that, you know, nothing has been missed or overlooked. Because when you're looking for remains out in the woods, in the fields, it is easy to overlook something. There's cases that cadaver dogs and search dogs have passed within 20 feet of remains and not found them. So if there's an area of interest on a case, whether we feel it's of interest, one of you feel it's of interest, we're going to keep that location open until we're able to get that searched and us feel that it is cleared.
Yeah.
And it's in no way reflecting on anybody else. We just want to be thorough.
Yeah.
I just, this one has kept me up nights ever since this individual has been found. Because if I'd have had that mindset with that, we may have been able to find this individual almost a year. He'd been missing around a year when the case come to us. We may have been able to have brought him home a year ago, and the family not have to deal with all of those questions for that additional year. So if there's an area of interest, it's not going to be considered cleared by us until we've done the search and cleared it. And it's no disrespect to any team, any law enforcement, nothing like that. It's just our peace of mind and the family's peace of mind knowing that property's been looked at again.
Yeah. Yeah, because I hate when we do something and then you think about it and you're like, well, like Mark Fullerton's case, you know, Tammy and I, you know, and the other ones that went with us, we were down there the whole weekend. You know, we live in the northwest corner of Missouri, and we went to the northeast corner of Arkansas to go look for Mark's remains. And Sunday afternoon, the neighbor comes over and is like, oh, you guys are digging in the wrong spot. And it's like, you've been by here I don't know how many times because I thought you were the bad guys watching us. Literally, I mean, that's what I did because I kept seeing this car trolling us, you know, and I mean, we all were concerned about, you know, things going south, you know, and I saw that car numerous times. And then that day I saw it again. Then all of a sudden it pulled in the driveway next door. And then she come out. And next thing I know, Tammy went over there and Tammy's talking to her. And she was like, you guys are digging in the wrong area. And I'm like, why couldn't you have come and told us this Friday night or Saturday morning? You know, and we literally dug up 3/4 of these people's backyard, you know, and I'm talking dig it up on our hands and knees, digging through burn stuff and, you know, anything and everything. And so, yeah, I hate thinking, well, what if, or, you know, second guessing if we should do this and we shouldn't do that. So, you know, we always have to go with our gut instincts, you know, and I think that's why we go to the location where Crystal Kipper's at. It's just this overwhelming feeling that she's there, you know, it's just like somebody's there, you know, she's there. It's just one of those feelings. So, Amber Alert in Kansas.
Did it just go off for you, Dennis?
My phone hasn't gone off.
I haven't got none.
I hardly ever get them.
Alyssa, put it in Discord.
On Facebook.
Is Deb in here? I can't see the chat right now.
Deb's still there. Where at in Kansas?
Has it shown any photos?
Okay, 15-year-old
Oh, liberal.
out of Liberal, Kansas. 15-year-old girl. Hispanic, black hair, brown eyes, 5'2", 120 pounds. Black shirt, blue jeans, pink flip-flops. At Mary Frame Park at 530 South New York Avenue in Liberal, Kansas. They do not know the name of the suspect, but knows it is a Hispanic male in his early 20s, last seen wearing black shirt and black pants. A black 2007 Chevy Tahoe, Texas tag TTTJ8135.
They got a photo of it?
Yes.
Can you put that link in our chat? It's not even on page 2 yet. All right, guys, I gotta jump off here.
Go do your work, Dan.
Go get them, Dan.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, it's not on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe it hasn't come across our phones yet.
Right?
Yeah, I hardly get them anymore.
That's another one of the big issues with the system.
I wonder if it does within a certain distance first, and then it works its way out. Possibly.
How far is Liberal from?
It is over in western Kansas.
That's what I was thinking.
Isn't Liberal where they did Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, they have a big museum there.
Yeah.
Wow, it appeared she was screaming and crying and being held against her will, according to law enforcement, and believed she's in imminent danger. The Tahoe left west on U.S. Highway from Mary Frame Park.
Yeah.
So,
Bye, Deb. Thanks for being with us tonight.
so guys, Dan will be covering this over on TikTok. So please jump over, stay alert, stay updated on this, keep our eyes and ears open, and let's try to help bring this girl home.
Yeah.
So with that, guys, I think we will go ahead and shut this down and see what we can do to assist with that.
Okay. Well, thanks to everybody in the audience tonight for joining us and hanging out and participating in our discussions.
And typically we do these Sunday nights, 7:30 p.m. Central Time. Dan will keep you guys updated when we're going to go next. Or if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, turn the notifications on, and that will let you know when we're going live. So with that, until next time, let's do what we can to bring this young girl home, and we will see you guys down the road.
Bye, everybody.